a world filled with stress and distractions, many people find themselves trapped between memories of the past and worries about the future. This prevents them from truly enjoying life in the present moment. The phrase "the power of now" serves as a powerful call to live in the present, highlighting the importance of focusing on the here and now to achieve happiness and inner peace. In his famous book, The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle offers practical advice to help us navigate life's challenges and free ourselves from the constraints of negative thoughts and regret. By understanding the power of the present, we can make a significant transformation in our lives and improve our relationships with others. Tolle reveals how to overcome the influence of the ego and find inner calm by embracing the present moment. Concentrating solely on the now and releasing the past or future can significantly enhance your life. Many of us want to find inner peace and improve our lives. We seek enlightenment but don't know what steps to take. The first step might be easier than you think. We tend to live in the past and the future. One moment we're remembering or regretting, and the next, we're planning or worrying. Meanwhile, we ignore the only moment that's fully available to us, the present. The present is all that matters because nothing ever happens in the past or future. Things only happen in a continuous flow of present moments. Every feeling you've ever experienced, you felt in the present because your senses can only give you information about this exact moment. So, when we say something happened in the past, that's not entirely accurate. It happened in a single present moment. The past is actually just a collection of past present moments, and the future is made up of present moments that haven't arrived yet. As this shows, there's no benefit in worrying about the future or living in the past. But there are many advantages to living in the now. If you can achieve that, you won't face big problems, only small ones you can handle as they come. For example, a difficult task like writing a research paper might seem overwhelming. If you worry about all the work left to do or regret missed opportunities to work on it earlier, you'll get nowhere. But if you just tackle one small issue at a time, gathering data, developing a structure, writing the first chapter, it'll be much easier to accomplish. So try to live in the present. Let go of the past and stop fearing the future, and you'll see how much your life improves. The ego is an aspect of your consciousness that prevents you from finding joy. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to sabotage themselves? Why, even though no one wants to be miserable, many people still feel unhappy? The culprit is the ego, a part of your mind that controls your thoughts and behavior without you even noticing. Because it's hard to see, most people don't realize how much control the ego has over their lives. For example, if you think back on an argument with someone, you might realize, and maybe regret, that you overreacted. But in the heat of the moment, you weren't aware of anything affecting or controlling your thoughts and actions. Why does the ego do this? It thrives on your misery to stay alive, so it blocks happiness at every turn, working against your best interests. Having a destructive part of your mind that creates misery might explain why so many people suffer, even though no one actually wants to live an unhappy life. For example, some people deliberately sabotage their happiness by staying in toxic and painful relationships. It's the ego that leads you into conflict with others, making you unhappy with your current situation just so it can control your behavior and thoughts. Whenever two or more egos meet, drama often follows, like in offices or small families. Even though people want to live together peacefully, their egos make them upset over small things and overreact to situations. If you suddenly find yourself in a heated argument over something minor, like whose turn it is to clean the kitchen or whether a TV show is good or not, it's likely the ego at work. The ego is a destructive part of the human mind. It wants to be the most important part of you and knows no limits, so if you let it take over, it will bring a lot of suffering into your life. If you seek a fuller and nearly effortless life, detach yourself from your thoughts and concentrate on your physical being. The power of the ego is just one of the many reasons why it's important to distance yourself from your mind and pay more attention to your body. In fact, many great teachers have spoken about the value of focusing on the body instead of the mind. But why? The mind is responsible for pain. It creates pain by constantly bringing up memories of the past or planning for the future, filling your life with painful memories and anxious future scenarios. In doing so, it prevents you from living in the present. The result? You're stuck worrying about things you can't change, leading to more pain. It's clear we need to find a way to reduce the mind's power and control. How? By shifting our focus from the mind to the body. Your body knows what's best for you. By listening to your body, you can get a much clearer sense of what truly matters in your life. Jesus often spoke about the importance of the body and used it in many of his parables and metaphors. For example, your body is a temple. His stories of resurrection and ascension emphasized that his body was missing from the tomb, and he ascended to heaven with his body, not just his mind or soul. No one has ever found enlightenment while focusing only on the mind and ignoring the body. A powerful example of this is a 6-year-long abstinence from food, including fasting, practiced to separate from the body. The result? The person may have felt disconnected from their body, but they did not find more peace or enlightenment. Enlightenment only came after letting go of those practices and reconnecting with their body. Watching the mind non-judgmentally is the most effective method to distance yourself from it, thereby liberating yourself from suffering. Once you realize that your mind is causing you pain and stopping you from fully living in the present, you need to separate yourself from it. But how do you do that? To disconnect from your mind, you first need to become fully aware of it and the power it holds over you. Otherwise, you'll never understand the countless small and subtle ways it affects your thoughts, behavior, and ultimately your happiness. For example, if you want to observe your mind, ask yourself, what will my next thought be? If you focus completely on this question, you'll notice that it takes a moment before the next clear thought appears. By observing, you've created a gap in the flow of your thinking. If you do this often enough, you'll begin to notice how your mind is usually caught up in a continuous stream of thoughts. And just like that, you've found the key tool to interrupt your mind and detach from it. Another way to observe your mind is by doing so without making judgments. Judging is an action of the mind itself, so when you judge something, you're going back to using your mind. For example, if you're in the middle of working and suddenly feel an urge to go for a run, just follow that instinct. Your body knows what's good for it. So, go ahead and run. Then, pay attention to the little voice in your head that says, you should be working now, not wasting time running. But don't judge that voice as good or bad, and don't try to follow its advice. Just smile at it and accept its presence. By doing this, you'll learn to notice your mind without letting it drag you along to wherever it wants to take you. Aim to remain in a constant state of awareness. As you get better at separating yourself from your thoughts, you can try adopting another technique, active waiting. This is a special kind of waiting, like when you know something important or dangerous might happen at any moment. In this state, your entire focus is on the present. When you're in active waiting, there's no time for daydreaming, planning, or remembering things that usually distract us from the now. For example, during a test, don't waste time worrying about the results. Instead, be fully present and focus closely on the task in front of you. Entering active waiting right before and during an exam can help you stay focused. In this state, you're also paying attention to your body, ready for anything. As we've seen, this body awareness is crucial for living in the present. Take, for example, Zen masters who would sneak up on their students with closed eyes and try to strike them. The students, in a state of active waiting, were so in tune with their bodies that they could sense the master's approach and avoid the attack. Many spiritual teachers recommend this state of active waiting, believing it leads to a good life. For instance, when Christ's disciples asked how to live a peaceful and good life, he advised, be like a servant waiting for the return of his master. Since the servant doesn't know when the master will come, he remains constantly alert. He doesn't make grand plans for the future, but stays aware of his surroundings so he won't miss the master's return. Being present may be challenging for your partner, yet it can also enhance your connection. After following the previous steps, you are now able to live in the present and are no longer completely dependent on your mind. But how will this change your daily routine? For example, how will it affect your relationships? It's often difficult for a normal person to share their life with someone who lives fully in the present. The ego of someone not living in the present thrives on problems, while a calm and peaceful person who is grounded in the present can be seen as a threat. The ego of the non-present person reacts by creating more issues, for example, by insulting the other person, arguing over trivial matters to disrupt the peace, or constantly bringing up past events to take them out of the present. Why do they do this? A simple analogy helps explain. Just as darkness cannot exist near light, it's hard for someone still controlled by their ego to be around someone who lives in the present for long. Strong opposites cannot coexist closely. If you place a candle in the darkness disappears. If you light water, the flame goes out. But if done right, living in the present can greatly improve your relationship. You'll be able to stop judging, criticizing, or trying to change your partner and instead see them as an independent person. Moreover, the insight you gain from living in the present can help break endless cycles, like arguments that never reach a conclusion. The inner peace that comes from being present allows you to listen to your partner without judgment. If you live in the present, it can be very difficult for your partner to live with you. It might even become a new challenge for your relationship. However, in the long run, it can offer a great opportunity for positive change, both for your partner and your relationship. Not every discomfort is escapable. Yielding to the moment does not imply disregarding sorrowful or painful emotions. Even if you fully live in the present, some feelings of sadness and pain are unavoidable. So, what should you do with these feelings? Should you suppress them and pretend everything is fine? That doesn't seem like a good idea. It's true that most of our pain is self-created, but that doesn't mean we create it entirely. A good example of unavoidable pain is the hurt caused by those still trapped in their destructive thoughts. Another example is the death of a loved one. Since you can't enlighten everyone around you, and you certainly can't stop death, this pain is clearly inevitable. So, what can we do? When you experience something painful that causes you real hurt, you can accept it as it is. For instance, if you lose someone dear to you, you will naturally grieve and feel sad. But if you can accept this as something that simply exists and cannot be changed, you'll avoid unnecessary suffering. Grief is a natural feeling, and there's no need to feel guilty or ashamed of it. Things are as they are, and accepting that means you're not wasting time wishing things were different. By staying present, you can avoid most of the pain in your life, but not all of it. Moreover, living in the present doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing pain. Instead, it gives you the inner strength to accept such difficult and painful realities of life. Yielding to the now does not equate to leading a complacent existence. Inner peace is beautiful, but when your external situation is tough, that peace doesn't mean much. Does accepting the present automatically lead to a negative way of living, where you ignore things that bother you or that you want to change? Not necessarily. Living in the present is an inner process of feeling and insight, and it doesn't require you to develop a negative external behavior. For example, if you're stuck in the mud, don't just tell yourself you've always wanted to stay there. Instead, try calmly to free yourself. Living in the present can offer you new resources and fresh ways to solve problems. It can give you new forms of strength and determination because you're not wasting your inner resources creating problems. In fact, when you live in the present, you don't see problems, you see manageable situations that you can address one by one. This makes you more effective. Accepting and living in the present doesn't mean committing to a negative life or choosing not to try to make things better. On the contrary, focusing on the present while keeping the past and future in their place allows you to see what's wrong in any moment, giving you the power to change those things for the better. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button.